There we go. Let's see. Let's see if that works now. Maybe that's what was going on.
Hello?
Let's see. Hello, 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 hello.
Hello.
All right. Yes, you can hear us. All right. Hello, hello, guys.
Hello.
How's everybody doing today? I'm Megan.
I'm Matt.
And you guys are listening to The Night Owl. All right. So it's fucking April. We were a little late to the game. I think our last recording was March 30th, and we got COVID, didn't we?
Yeah. We got COVID.
So the fact of the matter is, I was around. I think I, tried to do new things and go to new places, and it could have just been anyone, even just in our building, that could have spread it. But either way, I got COVID after a friend got COVID. And then, of course, living together, Matthew got COVID. Poor baby. I'm sorry for that. So the great thing is he still got paid because he's salaried. So you missed work. But yeah, you thought you were okay the first day. You're like, oh, I'm just stuffy. Because Matthew was like, he's always my nurse. Like when I get sick, he goes above and beyond, till death do us part, sickness and in health.
Yeah, no, I felt fine after we initially found out you definitely
had it. Because we went and got the test, right?
And I kind of thought initially, because of all the exposure, because of not having any symptoms and feeling pretty good, that, maybe I'm going to luck out and be one of those few that was not going to get it with somebody in the house. You start wearing a mask, you start taking those precautions. And then maybe about 2 days after we knew you had it, then yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Matthew thought he was like, because I had a sore throat, like a tickle. And then like my friend had told me, so I just got this, like, where you see a bug and then you just think they're all over you. I was like, oh no, maybe I'm sick. And I'm like, no, maybe I'm just I'm just kind of feeling bad for my friend. And he and I had hung out. Like I took him, I took him on an errand. We went on an adventure together. So I was like, okay, he and I were kind of in the same place at the same time more often than Matt was with me. And I was like, all right, well, even when I get the common cold, it's pretty bad. Like I get sick very easily, and it's always terrible. So then I just started to feel worse. And then I started to feel really weak. And then my body started to get chills. And Matthew went on an errand, and then you came back and you were just like, oh, she's in bed with her mask on.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And I was just like, I don't feel good, bro. Like, this is not good. Like, I thought I had a flu back in January. So I thought that I just had a regular flu. But I kind of like pinpointed where I could have gotten it COVID from. And then Matt was my nurse. And then when you got sick, it was like maybe 2 days after I got really bad. And I thought you were just going to have like a cold. Like some people can have that. They just have a cold.
No, I knew once I had kind of...
You said you slept the entire day.
Yeah, the exhaustion hit. And then once the fever was there.
Yeah, you had fatigue first.
Definitely not the cold or the flu. I mean, the fatigue and the muscle fatigue.
It's like burning. It burns your body and you're like tired and restless. Like I could not get to sleep. I could not make myself go to bed. I could not make myself go to sleep. I had to take melatonin and Dayquil. I guess you were giving me that, and like Alka-Seltzer for the fever. And then I had weird dreams because of Dayquil, because that shit like gives you weird dreams. Like I never go near NyQuil because I just don't know. I don't know what to expect with it. But yeah, like I started getting better. I think I initially got really sick on like a Wednesday. And then once like Saturday kind of hit, Sunday, then I started feeling better, right? I didn't have any bad, body aches anymore, chills, hot and cold. I mean, it was hot, cold, waking up in sweat, couldn't sleep, took like a million baths and just tried to feel good. I remember the first day I was like humming and singing in bed because I was trying to make my body feel good. You know how cats like purr? I was trying to do that. I'm like, maybe the vibrations will help.
Soothing, and like I said, this was, for me, the amount of colds and flus I've had, it's just normal medication. I know what to do. But this was definitely something of a different different feather, different stripe, yeah, whatever you want to call it, because definitely that exhaustion.
Oh, it's
and
so
even then,
bad.
after you started to feel better, or even I started to feel better, it was like you do one little thing and then nope, that's it. I'm tired for the rest of the day. I need to take a nap and that's it.
Yeah, you were like, because I remember when he was starting to get sick, I started to get better, and I was like, well, I can help him now because I was out of the woods. I just had cotton head, like really lots of like, I felt like I was, underwater kind of thing where you can't hear and you're stuffy. I didn't have any issues breathing. I didn't have any issues with, I mean, maybe like when I started to get better, I felt a little tight, but I didn't feel like, if I didn't go to bed early enough, then yeah, my body, I was like wired. I couldn't get to sleep. But I remember Matt, like at one point was like, I don't know how you did this. And I'm like, I don't know either. You just don't. You don't do it. It does you.
Yeah.
Like
it does you.
I've had really bad.
I mean, luckily, right, you and I have not lost our sense of smell.
No,
really
we couldn't eat because we were sick, but
we were still able to eat even if we didn't really have the appetite, knowing that was what was best for us. So
yeah, so we're out of the woods now. I think I didn't test again. I think we tested yesterday. I didn't test again, but I'm probably going to tomorrow, and Matt's going to on Sunday. And I have a friend who just got sick like 2 days ago. So a lot of my friends are starting to get sick. And Matthew and I actually noticed, just real quick, we noticed on the news yesterday that they were putting up the the cases, the number of cases on.
Well, we know here, at least in Chicago, there's a spike.
We know there's more than what they're saying.
The new BA.2 variant, but it brought up, you and I brought up a point this to each other, that those 304 that they reported, it's like, how do they know who those are, right? Those people probably went to a doctor, or somehow the state got those numbers. I know they don't have your number. They don't have my number.
And we're not in the census for it, which I think they're going to do.
Not. I mean, I honestly, maybe we're going to plead our ignorance, and maybe we're not being the best here. We should report that.
They're going to, I read that they're going to do that in the census.
There is not necessarily a requirement right now to report yourself. There is, say, things that you should do once you do have it, which I think we did, but I just started thinking about that. I'm like, boy, that's what they know. What about the number who they don't know? Like, we know a bunch of people now, especially with this current variant. I think there is a spike. However, I would say this, right? And just anecdotally, hospitalizations not going up. And I would say partly because I think everybody that we know that have currently gotten it within the last month have all been vaccinated. Whether they've had their 2, everybody's, at least we know, have their 2. Most people we know have their boosters, but I would say that has definitely had an impact on the severity of this. And I can tell you,
and then bouncing back from it too,
and being able to bounce back from it.
Yeah, because you had your booster, I didn't yet, and
which may have been the difference in kind of the longevity. You had a fever for probably 2 days. I had one for maybe just under a day, and I would say probably you maybe got the brunt of it more than I did, but definitely the exhaustion and all of that is there. But like you said, we're back out of those woods now. Thank goodness for us.
Yeah.
Right?
And I really don't, I really think that I really don't think I'm going to ever feel the same pre-COVID. Like, my body, I feel like, is just now different. Like, I feel like now we just have this alien virus that went through our body. Cause like, I know there's so many different types of flus, and this is a little different, obviously, but I don't even know what variant we got. I don't even know if we had the good old one, or if we had
even the tests don't do that.
They don't tell you. Yeah.
Here in the US, they specifically, they don't really.
I don't think they
tell.
Yeah.
The variant there.
You'd have to go to like the hospital or something.
But you would have to go to a doctor somewhere where they would have to do a.
So just real quick, like, do you want to tell people what tests you got for at-home tests, just so people know if they get COVID, that where they could go? At least for the people in Chicago. I know that you went to Walgreens, go get them anywhere,
right? At CVS, Walgreens. What I did not necessarily know, and I would definitely recommend this, go through the government, right? So everybody gets 2 free tests. Sign up through the government. You cannot, if you go to, say, CVS, Walgreens, any pharmacy per se, You cannot get the government issued test through those areas there.
Okay.
And I will also say this: don't be surprised. I had a sticker shock. Right, I was told the first time that we went to go get a test that I bought for you at the counter. The lady there's like, I think if you go in the back and use your insurance, you won't. The insurance will pay for this. I was in a bit of a hurry, right? And I said, I'm going to pay for these this time around, thinking, well, wasn't that the government issued one? So that's what I was thinking at the time when I paid for the first two, not knowing or understanding, right?
Yeah.
To get the government issued test, you have to go to the website and sign up,
fill out some things
and do it that way. You're not going to be able to go to a pharmacy and get the government issued one. But this is what I learned, right? Our insurance covered a whopping 94 cents per test.
Okay. And then how much? So someone was telling me, they're like, oh, one test that they wanted to get was like $100 or something.
No, I mean,
because there wasn't the other ones. I guess maybe the cheaper ones were sold out.
No, these run anywhere from about $13 to $16 per test. They sell them mainly in 2 at a time, so in 2 packs.
So everyone gets 2.
You can buy 1 at a time, but
well, why not get 2? I mean, why not, right? Because then you have one for after you're sick, which I guess really works. That comes in handy.
Probably why they sell 2 at a time.
Because they want to make sure you can go back to work. Like they want to say, hey, like you probably have about a week or 10 days. I think someone was saying that you get 5 days after your symptoms go away that you have. I mean, you and I are on the safer side. I think it's been almost 9 days, 10 days since I got it.
And now they still stick to the 10 to the 14 days.
Yeah, I think you still should do that.
Isolation and quarantine. Of course, there's a difference between the two, and really the difference is whether or not you've been vaccinated and your symptoms, whether or not you should be fully quarantining, or if isolation is adequate enough.
Like for instance, when I would go shopping before COVID, I wouldn't wear gloves. I would still wash my hands when I got home, and a lot of those places have sanitizing stations. But today I went to Micro Center and I had my double mask, and then they also had like, well, a lot of places have like gloves and stuff for you to wear when you go, but some of those places are, they want you to be able to go when you're negative, so that way you don't spread anything. So yeah. So when you have a test, when you do a test after you have it, you make sure that you're negative, and then you can go like and be in, be back in society.
There's a difference between isolation. If you've had the vaccines and you've had now COVID or currently and are symptom free, you can't. You should do the 6 feet thing. You should definitely keep a mask on when you're around people, that kind of thing. But you don't necessarily have to go live in a bubble like what quarantine is. Yeah. So yes, now that we're kind of in this stage here.
Do they still have those quarantine stations where you can like stay overnight or stay a few days?
No.
They don't have that?
I don't know.
Oh, there were places like in when we went to Portland that had that.
That's at that point. I don't think those things exist now.
Oh, okay. Well, it was like if you had to travel or something, or you had COVID, you'd stay in these places, and then that way you wouldn't get anyone sick or anything. I don't know if that was here, if that was in a different country, but anyway, so you guys, if you're new, I'm Megan.
I'm Matt.
And this is the Night Owl Chicago, an all-inclusive podcast that talks about music, art, and life, and everything in between. All right, so what stories did you have for us, Matthew?
Yeah, I think the last time, right, that we did this, everybody had kind of heard the slap around the world. And today, I think there was a update on that.
The slap around the world.
You're kind of curious. So the Oscars did come out and now have officially made it clear or made the statement. Will Smith has been banned from attending the Oscars for the next 10 years.
Damn.
Still no apology.
Still no apology. Yeah, I'm wondering.
No real apology,
did Chris come out with any response?
No, of course not. So Chris Rock is currently on a comedy tour, right? And that tour, he wrote material for that tour. So if you think you're going to go see him and think he's going to go riff on what happened, guess again. He's using his material. That's what he's doing. He is not riffing.
Yeah, he has other things to talk about.
He did say he is holding back to say that there may be material later on based on that. but it'll be later on and it's not now. So don't think that. So 10-year band, and if you go see Chris Rock, enjoy his material, don't expect to see anything current.
Okay. So he's probably not going to say anything. I mean, it makes sense. Like, why would he not stick with the program and what he was going to do before? Because he doesn't really want to give that any more fuel, you know.
Yeah,
like, why talk about it when it's not about him?
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think that he's going to definitely take the high road. It's just, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just so bizarre. Like, I still think it's like, I was waiting for it to be like, oh, it's just all publicity stunt. Like, you know, the picture we had, if you guys go to our YouTube or even our Anchor, I just posted it, but on our YouTube, actually, I think our Anchor has the thumbnail as well. But if you go to our YouTube from our last episode where we discussed this, it has a picture of, you know, Will and Jada at the Oscars. And it's funny. It's like, she didn't want any attention, but yet that photo's everywhere now with her, with no hair. It's like, she still posed in a picture with him with the award. So it's like, Jada, it's confusing. It's like, you didn't want someone to make fun of you, but you're playing.
Well,
you're also, it's like, are you laughing at yourself, or maybe it was Photoshopped? I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah. So I have some celebrity news. First, we're going to talk about what's this guy's name again? Noel Gallagher. Yeah. So why don't you introduce who Noel Gallagher is to our younger listeners? We have listeners that are 17, 18. They may not know.
Obviously, a very popular 90s kind of rock band out of the UK, especially out of the hardened part of the United Kingdom, one Oasis, led by Noel Gallagher. And then later on, Liam, his brother, in there, and probably one may argue maybe Liam is better than Noel, but Noel's been around, right? So he is an angsty individual. I would recommend, if you get the opportunity to, if you're interested in a little bit of UK kind of pop music, go check out the documentary that kind of detailed the beef between his band Oasis and Blur. So if you don't know, the lead singer, or the part of the guy from Gorillaz, was in that band. Yeah, they had a huge beef in the 90s, right? So this guy has a bit of a history, right, of going after people and telling what he thinks and whatever. So currently he is back in the news. He's trying to make himself relevant again, isn't he? Mm-hmm. Going after one. Harry Styles going after another fellow Brit, right? Calling out his music, saying it's not music. I think he was also maybe offended. Just, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I was just going to read a little snippet and then we can kind of comment on it, because, you know, obviously whenever you and I, we discuss some news, sometimes it's old by then, but, you know, it's still fun to talk about, because I think our last 2 episodes were kind of dark. So I think it's fun to talk shit about celebrities, especially if they already have a good track record for being a dick or being, I
think he is what you would call a D-bag.
I think he's taken some energy away from Will Smith for now, So it says that Noel Gallagher has a history of questioning others' musical abilities, but fans of his latest target aren't going to take his comments lightly. The Oasis member, who previously called One Direction cocksuckers who would be in rehab by the time they're 30, has now shared some words about Harry Styles in particular. He says that Noel points to the X Factor as an institution. He says the X Factor is an institution that has nothing to do with music whatsoever. So the X Factor, what is that? Is that a show? The X Factor, is that a judge show, music show or something? It says that he said the alums of the competition show, such as 1D, don't work as hard as real musicians. You're telling me, this is what he said. He said, you're telling me Harry Styles is currently in a room somewhere writing a song. He said, with any joy, he'll be surrounded by a lot of girls. I can assure you he's not got an acoustic guitar out trying to write a middle 8 for something. Gallagher, who previously said his cat could have penned Harry's debut single "Sign of the Times" in about 10 minutes. So he's saying that his cat could have written Harry Styles' new song in 10 minutes.
Right? He hasn't been or written a song that was relevant
in how long?
How many years? 20, 25? More, maybe? no, maybe not that.
Only had about 10 minutes of clarity after his comments went live. So he, because this is what happens when you go on Twitter. As now, Styles fans are calling out the Oasis brother. He has a past of lighting musical fires too, from the old Jay-Z Glastonbury situation to saying that pop group Little Mix was not in the same league as his band. The member of Little Mix, Jade Thirlwall, responded by saying, "We are definitely not the most successful girl group in the country, but he's not even the most successful performer in his family. As for Harry, it's unlikely he's going to make any comments himself as he promotes his new single, As It Was, which just broke a big Spotify record. But the internet certainly has his back on this one." So yeah, there's a lot of, I'm going to put the link in here, you guys, so you guys can read it. But it's pretty freaking funny. Like, I think that that's hilarious that he's trying to say these things about someone who is Harry Styles is very talented on his own. Obviously, they all are. But being in that band, I mean, they're one of the most successful boy bands, if not in the country, in the world, if anything. I mean, they've been to so many different countries, and they're all I don't know about the other members. I know Zayn is kind of in some hot water, but
Well, I guess it just,
he just wants to pick a fight instead of, hey, maybe I should work with Harry. Maybe we should work together. We're both Brits. We're both, we're both talented.
well,
Like,
again,
think of what they could make together.
Relevant in years and isn't interested in making anything new.
Yeah.
So he is still living back there, and that's where he can probably stay because again, I'm always interested in new music and new sounds. And yeah, I mean, yeah, he's a curmudgeon.
Yeah, he's definitely a curmudgeon.
He is a curmudgeon.
He's a grumpy old man.
Yes, he is.
And it's like, if you can't beat him, join him, and keep your enemies close if you want to.
Old man shaking his fist on the porch saying, "Get off my lawn." That's who you are, dude.
Instead of saying, "Hey, do you want to come in for some cookies?"
And that's not rock and roll, dude. That's the other thing. I think somebody should take his rock and roll card and sit him down and put him out the pasture, right?
Well, yeah, and it's like, it sucks because there's people that are fabulous actors, and fabulous singers, but their just attitudes are just so bad. I mean, it's like, it sucks that they're so talented.
Jelly old curmudgeon.
What else did you got?
Yeah, I just thought what was an interesting piece that I saw here was a Fox on Capitol Hill and not Fox News, which I kind of thought was maybe an interesting coincidence. An actual Fox on Capitol Hill fighting 9 different people, including, I think, several representatives and elected officials. They eventually did catch this fox and unfortunately had to euthanize the fox to determine whether or not this fox had rabies. Now, if you're not familiar with that animal, the fact that it would have been anywhere near a human being, let alone come into contact 9 different times and actually make contact and bite 9 different humans, would tell you something is wrong. Foxes may be very curious animals, but in general, if they are in the wild, they will run from you. So unfortunately, this fox here had rabies, which good for the people that they caught it, because if there is still one disease out there among many, definitely this one though, right?
Yeah.
It is lethal to animals and humans if not treated.
And I don't even know if this is like true or not, but I thought you had to have your several shots in your stomach, and like a couple times.
I believe it's multiple shots, right? Like you said, and probably in the stomach, because you said right,
the first time, and
pancreas.
Yeah,
and they are painful.
Yeah, it's either your pancreas or your liver or whatever, but I know it has to be somewhere near your organs, where all your organs are.
Yes.
In the middle, so then that way you're not because your organs and your pancreas, or your liver and your pancreas, cleanse, they detox and stuff. So it's a painful shot. So 9 people will be getting very painful round. I still feel bad for the fox. I still feel bad for the fox.
Very much so.
I'm sorry. I'm it shouldn't be there, but The poor thing, it just wanted to die on its own terms, which means
I
taking
mean,
9 people down with
a
it.
hell of a 9 people. I'll give it credit. Go ahead.
That's amazing.
Take them down.
He's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna get
politicians.
Yeah, I'm gonna die. They're definitely gonna kill me. So I mean, I hope they did it humanely, you know. Well, my story is about, it's just another celebrity story. It's about Lady Gaga and Caitlyn Jenner. And it says Twitter can't get enough of Lady Gaga and Caitlyn Jenner's awkward encounter. Now, on a side note, Lady Gaga lost. I think she was nominated and then she lost to another singer.
Yeah, did
and
you
the
not
singer
see those
had
pictures where
yeah,
her dress got caught on the chair. And
Lady Gaga she actually helped her, and I was like, that is someone that should have deserved the award. Like, she should have just. That was. I mean, I think she's better than most people because most people would have just been like, oh, I'm just gonna let her dress rip. Like, fuck her, you know. But Lady Gaga is a girl's girl. She's a human's human.
Yep.
And she never puts herself above anyone. She, has recently shared her trauma before she became famous about her sexual assault, which I thought was really brave. But she's a huge advocate for children, for trans people, for, anyone who's not valued and not seen as someone that matters. And I think she's a really great person. So I saw just the title of this article. So I'm like, awkward encounter. Everything's kind of probably awkward with Caitlyn Jenner because she's Republican. She, voted for Trump. She, hasn't been a trans female for too long, but she's still enough. It's still enough where she's kind of getting the, hang of it. She's finding herself. And I think she's a very smart, intelligent woman. I like her now as her. I like this person, I really like Bruce very much, but I kind of know why Bruce was the way he was, right? So this article says it's when it comes to the Oscars, Elton John's party is always the place to be seen. Elton John's still kicking it, man, still kicking it. And Lady Gaga most definitely got the memo. Unfortunately for her, so did Caitlyn Jenner. In a video captured by onlookers, Jenner can be seen approaching Gaga, who looks less than enthralled by the interruption. Jenner asked Gaga if she still spends time in Malibu, because everyone does. I have a friend who lived in LA and he said everyone lives in Malibu. That's like where you live, because it's quiet and it's away from LA. Yes, she says, only for Jenner to note that she hasn't seen her at the Starbucks for a while. What a white thing to say, though. Like, to this, Lady Gaga quips, well, I've switched baristas. The duo end their swift catch up by politely telling the other it was good to see them. Meanwhile, Elton John's husband and party co-host David Furnish, who's walking by Gaga's side, adds, good seeing you, Caitlyn. The Twitterverse had too much to say of the footage. Some imagined Gaga hiding in the coffee shop from Jenner and compared it to the Euphoria scene where Cassie Sydney Sweeney hides in the bathroom from Maddie. Another quipped, Lady Gaga switched Starbucks to avoid Caitlyn Jenner. Celebrities are just like us. While one social media commenter celebrated that the Oscars had delivered yet another toe-curling moment for them to enjoy. So I'll post the video in the comments. You guys can watch it because I don't want to interrupt our if I share anything on our Chrome, it kind of messes with the audio. But what do you think about that, Matt? I think that's pretty funny. Like, I think it's hilarious because, like, why does she have to have a reason anyway? Like, and I didn't really think Lady Gaga drank Starbucks. I thought she
well, now we know. They're real people. They're just like us. They're real people too.
They're just like us. But it's still funny. It's like, why I switched baristas. That's such a clever thing to say.
Here's the cynic in me going, how much did Starbucks pay Caitlyn Jenner to go up to her and say that? And
then, like, it didn't work. So, like,
it did work.
Well, it did work. So that now she's going to get, like, sponsored by Starbucks.
Jenner and Lady Gaga both drink Starbucks.
It is kind of a white thing to say, though. Like, I know, like, a lot of people like Starbucks, but it's like such a white thing. Like, I haven't seen you at Starbucks. Like,
I'm surprised it didn't turn into like an episode of Curb.
Don't sue us, David. Don't sue us there, David. No, but I think it's pretty funny. I mean, I thought it was funny. I definitely think that Lady Gaga is like it would be cool to see Lady Gaga anywhere, honestly. But I didn't know that she lived in Malibu. So like I had a friend, like I said, he lived in LA for a long time, and he was like, yeah, everyone lives in Malibu. That's like, or West Hollywood, but you don't really want to live near all the excitement. You want to kind of live, away from that and have some peace and quiet. And Malibu is expensive, but it's probably just like more of a suburb type feel, and like country suburb kind of feel. The Boo. Yeah. So that's all I got. What else did you got? That's all you got? All right, so we're going to keep it light, keep it short. If you guys want to send us any topics for us to talk about, please send it to our email. Wednesday will read it, and she will let us know. And because she's our producer, and she's kind of given us the stink eye. But anyway, so yes, we want you guys to send us anything that you want as far as stories. Send your story. You can be anonymous. And hate mail, love mail, anything, right?
Take it all.
And where can people hear us, hear this podcast?
You can listen to our podcast anywhere where you listen to your favorite podcast,
which is the Night Owl Chicago. You guys, I would say stay happy, stay healthy, and wear a goddamn mask. I'm Megan.
I'm Matt.
And you're listening to The Night Owl.